From Relay FM, this is Connected, episode 267. Today's show is brought to you by ExpressVPN, Pingdom, and FreshBooks. My name is Myke Hurley. I'm joined by Federico Batici. Hi, Federico.
Hi, old school intro today. I like it.
Nice, right? Sometimes the old ways are the best ways. Steven is out sick today. Send him your two most favorite new emoji. That would be my request. That was actually his request. He said, please, Myke, tell our listeners to have them send me emoji. It's the only way that I can get over the fever that I'm having. So,
two most favorite emoji.
Yeah, the two new ones.
New emoji. Uh-huh.
I mean, everybody obviously will pick the otter as one of them because it's maybe the best emoji now.
I don't know. Maybe I have a feeling that, Steven gonna appreciate the mate emoji,
Yep. Take a sip of grandpa.
The grandpa emoji. I was very excited to see my friends being excited for the new emoji. This is why they upgrade.
Exactly. It's a big thing for people.
Yeah. Well, and it pleases me to, when they're happy with an update. Usually they're just upset with like, oh, this update made my phone worse.
Yeah.
Now everything is slow and crashing. For once, when the emoji come out, everybody's happy, and that's nice.
So we have some follow-up. I've decided that we will stick to the regime today, and we'll do follow-up. There's more smoke on the battery case fire. Wait, no, that's bad phrasing.
You don't.
That's terrible phrasing, right? For what is actually saying that there's more rumors of battery cases, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's better English right there. Yes.
So as is the way things are found in versions of operating systems these days, and Mac Rumors has found some icons, some imagery for some smart battery cases, which are very clearly for the new iPhone 11 models because the camera cutout is a huge square. I'm excited about this. I don't know if I need it anymore, though.
Yeah. I was about to say, I don't think I'm gonna get this one.
I don't think I am either. I just don't think
it's necessary. Yeah, I mean, unless you have a job that requires you to be in the field with an iPhone, using it all day.
There are always people, right?
Yes,
but like I mean, like for the travel day or for the conference day, the battery life is so good now. I'm not sure that I'm going to need it. Like I've already been traveling with the phone, and I'm going to be again, I think next week, and I have not run into any battery issues. Like I've always am able to charge in a sensible way, Or like I went on a plane and they didn't have power in the seats, but it wasn't an issue. I mean, it's only a couple of hours, right? The plane journey, but it wasn't, I have not seen any of the usual problems I would have seen. Who knows where it will be in 6 months? Maybe it changes, right? Batteries tend to get worse no matter what the battery graphs say. They always seem to get worse over time. But I don't feel the need for this case as I have other ones right now.
Yeah. I spent basically the past year leaving the smart battery case always on my XS Max.
Yeah, there is, for them, again, unless you play Pokemon Go, there is no need, I think, for you to do that anymore. I know a friend of the show, Alex Cox, is screaming at me, so I'm thinking of them right now. Alex plays Pokemon Go all the time, and they have terrible battery life because of that. So I desperately want the smart battery case. But I think if for most kind of general usage, someone like you who was leaving it on, you don't need that anymore because you have the hours extra that you need.
Right. Yeah. I can my biggest problem with the older generation iPhones is something clicks in my brain whenever I see the 20% battery left alert and the icon turns red. That fills me with a sense of dread and despair that is hard to describe. I shouldn't be this way, but I'm this way, and I've accepted myself for who I am from this point of view, thankfully. And so when I see that alert, I almost feel bad using my phone because it feels like I'm I'm taking the plug off of its life support or something. And so ideally, I want to go to sleep at like 3 a.m. without ever seeing that alert. And the iPhone 11 Pro Max makes that possible, because this phone, like I usually wake up at around 10:30 or 11 a.m. And when I go to sleep at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. when I'm, playing video games or something, it lasts me all day. Like this phone only died on me once. And that was because I spent the whole day out using 4G and playing games and taking pictures. I don't think I need this external case anymore. Also because now I have my fancy wallet case, and
I'd forgotten
by
about
the way,
that.
the experiment has gone super well.
Yeah,
now
happy?
it's become I put my actual wallet in a drawer because I don't use it anymore. Now I just go out with my wallet case. Sylvia keeps the cash because she has a small purse, so she has the cash, and I go out with just the wallet case and my
Do you
phone,
think
and it's
that
lovely.
there will be a time when you will stop switching the cases?
No, because it's too thick for using it around the house.
Is it
honestly,
thicker than the battery case was, though?
no, but I don't know. It feels unnecessary, and also it doesn't. Here's the problem: it doesn't support. It's too thick, so it doesn't support wireless charging.
But the battery case, even though it was thick, had support for that. Yeah.
Nor does it support NFC scanning. So that's too bad. But yeah.
There's no way it could, because all the cards would get in the way.
Well, the cards are at the bottom of the phone, which just surprised me.
Here's a fun thought for you.
Yeah.
You can, if your cards have contactless in them, you can set them up as NFC triggers. So you could set one of the cards up as an NFC trigger for when you're leaving the house.
I should do that, actually.
You should try that. That might be a fun little thing to do.
My ATM card has a contactless chip in it. So I should do it, actually. I mentioned this because I have an NFC sticker in my car, and I tried to scan it yesterday with my wallet case, and it didn't work.
So maybe you should move that NFC trigger to a card and see if that will work. I don't know how consistent that would be, though.
But I'm not sure, because the case is not that thick in the top section where the NFC antenna is.
I think honestly, I think your credit cards could be blocking the signal.
But they are at the bottom of the wallet.
That's a good point.
I don't know. Maybe it was a 13.2 bug, which we're going to talk about later.
Wait, there's bugs in iOS? No. Come on, Federico.
Every bug is an illusion.
Oh. It's a shame, to buy into a meme like this, but at this point, I don't really know how not to. Software is buggy right now.
It's funny, also.
It is also funny. I don't really... I don't spend too much time feeling guilty about complaining that people are working on software and I make fun of it. But every now and then I'm like, there is somebody working on it. But, what are you supposed to do? I figure it's not every individual's fault. It's the situation that they find themselves in. But it is still funny.
I mean, the very internet is predicated upon the idea that anything should be memeable.
That's true.
Even if it's made by somebody else. I know that it's the fact that humans are horrible like that.
Yep.
So
people make these kind of jokes about us all the time. So that's just life.
Exactly. People have memes about Mac stories, I'm sure, somewhere around some private Slacks or something. Or on Twitter.
I see a lot of memes about me on Reddit. So, but I love them. I love them.
Well, that's a whole different situation that you have.
Samsung has shown off a new folding phone.
Okay.
It is a concept. They showed it off yesterday at the developer conference. Right. This was how they showed off the original one. It was like a concept, quote unquote, at Samsung's developer conference, SDC. This is a flip phone concept.
Okay.
So the screen, it unfolds to become long and vertical. It's effectively a flip phone. Now, a flip phone makes a lot more sense if you think about it for right now for what Samsung seemed to be able to do, because as we knew flip phones, they were phones that had a screen inside and a small screen on the outside, right? That was what a flip phone used to look like. Now imagine if you could have something kind of like iPhone size maybe, but you could fold it in half and put it in your pocket. That might be kind of cool, right? And it's got a little screen on the front for notifications. Looks like a little Apple Watch or something, you know? That could be cool.
So does it fold inwards?
Yes,
or
inwards.
Okay.
Yeah, Samsung are right in there.
So when it's closed, you cannot use it?
When it's they haven't shown off anything other than an inward screen folding in on itself, right? Like they haven't even shown if it would have an outside screen. But because really it's just like this is a concept. They didn't actually show any hardware. They just showed how a user experience would look. But this is a phone they are working on. Motorola is also apparently working on a Razr phone. I think they have an event in a couple of weeks where they are expected to be showing off a foldable Razr phone.
Huh. It'd be fun if when it's folded, like the outside screen is like a little Tamagotchi.
I would love that.
Like a tiny square, and you can, keep track of your apps. And
that would be very nice. You got to feed the phone.
You got to feed the apps, man, during the day. Otherwise, they die.
You got to feed Twitter with a hot take. Otherwise, it will just shrivel up.
You know that I lost my Pikachu Tamagotchi when I was little, right? I told you this story before.
I don't know.
Yeah, Nintendo made a special Pikachu edition of some sort of Tamagotchi. It was yellow.
It was yellow. I remember this. Remember this.
And it became sort of like my dad didn't want to get a dog for me, a pet.
Oh, it looked like a little Game Boy, right?
Yeah, it did.
Pokemon Pikachu, it was called.
Yeah. And so my mom got me, in a virtual pet, in this case, a virtual Pikachu. And like, I really cared about it. Spent several minutes every day, like, looking after the Pikachu. And then one day I lost it and I was super sad, and my dad didn't care about it at all. Like, it didn't even bother to check where I could have lost it. And I still hold that grudge to this day, honestly. Like, he should have looked for that Pikachu for me. But yeah, so Tamagotchi and me, not a good relationship. But still, I would love a modern version, with apps. I'm sorry, it's a sad story. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I'm just thinking this is probably a record, because whenever Steven's away, we inevitably talk about Pokemon, and we've been recording for about 10 minutes before it came up this time.
Yeah.
It's probably to do with the fact that like there is a new Pokemon game in 2 weeks, and we both pre-ordered it today. So Pokemon on the brain.
Always.
But Samsung, they're doing their thing. I figured I had to talk about it because like 1 million people sent me the link today over the last 24 hours. I had to mention it. That was my folding phone corner. How about this? The first services bundle from Apple is real and weirdly announced. So
yes,
this was announced on Haley Steinfeld, who is the star of Dickinson, the Apple TV Plus show. She announced it on her Instagram. But this is the perfect place for the type of bundle that this is. Apple TV Plus is free for students that subscribe to Apple Music.
Huh. That's a good deal.
Right? Now, this is the first one. I still think that there will be more. But if you are a student subscriber to Apple Music, then you will be able to get yourself Apple TV Plus for free. Like, it's just included in the bundle. So that's something.
They really want as many people as possible to check out Apple TV Plus.
Yep. The student plan, by the way, is a $4.99 plan.
Yep.
So I saw the first ads here in London for Apple TV Plus today. I saw two buses, two double-decker buses. One, and it was just, I think it's just coincidence. One had an ad for the morning show, and one had an ad for C. And the ads were good, but they were missing something pretty important. So they had the logo of the show and an image.
No. Oh no, there wasn't a link?
It just said Apple TV Plus.
Oh no.
There was no URL. Of any kind. Now, me and Adina were walking along, and I was like, oh, look, they're the first ones. And I said, that's weird, they have no link. And she said, oh, well, because people will just know they can only watch it on their iPhone. And I was like, well, that's where you're wrong. And that's the problem. I think that will be the assumption that, like, you see this, you see Apple, and you think, oh, I'll watch it on my iPhone. But Apple have gone to great lengths to make this available to everybody, right? There is a web version. It's on Fire TV. It's on smart TVs. But they gave no information.
To be fair, they do put and I noticed this myself, and a friend of mine also asked me about it. The Apple TV icon, by default, they put it in the dock when you update to Catalina, which is,
Sure.
Growth hack, super gross. But, I get it.
I just think that, and again, I know people will Google, right? Like, I understand that, and that's probably what they decided to do. But I think that even if you don't put a link, they should have tried.
They should have.
They should be doing something to try and tell people that it's available, even if you don't own an Apple product, right? Because that's important. But we'll see. I mean, Friday, can't wait. Big day, November 1st, Apple TV Plus. I'm sure we'll have some stuff to say about it next week.
Yeah. I just wanted to spend a minute. This is not in the document. I'm sorry, Myke. I just thought of it.
It's okay.
A quick appreciation of family sharing. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Sylvia's sister, she lives in Spain now. She comes back to visit every few months. And I spent a few hours last week, she was here, setting up a family sharing account on her phone. I've been using family sharing with Sylvia for the past 2-3 years since it became available, essentially. And it's the iOS feature that allows you to share, among other things, your iCloud Drive space with other family members. And I have a 2 terabyte plan, and so that's planning for me and Sylvia. But then over the years, I also added Sylvia's mom and my mom to this family sharing plan, just because it allows me to make sure that everybody can back up their iPhone. They don't need to worry about paying or signing up. We talked about this. People don't want to use their credit cards online. My mom is one of those people. Sylvia's mom is one of those people. So now I take care of the process for them. I pay for iCloud, I pay for Apple Music, and everything is shared. I also added Sylvia's sister to the plan. And yes, we are using it required because I have a US Apple ID. It's a whole deal of setting up a new US-based Apple ID.
Oh, boy.
And over the years, I've learned how to optimize this process, creating a new iCloud account, moving things between iCloud accounts. I just wanted to say that it works super well. I now have 5 people in my family sharing plan. So I think I've almost reached, there's another person that I could add. But yeah, we share Apple Music, we share iCloud Drive. Now everybody's happy. Everybody's using iCloud Photo Library. Everybody's using iCloud Backup, and everybody can listen to Apple Music. And it's super fine. It works well. Could be better. There should be a dashboard, a dashboard app to actually manage all of this info instead of going to settings. There should be something like Picnic, which is a family sharing type service that gives you a dashboard and you can chat and you can have shared calendars in a single view. But even without a dashboard, it works really well.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So, because I've thought about family sharing a bunch for me and Adina. Is it possible for me to, for her to keep her current Apple ID and come into a family? So I set mine up as the family owner, and then she keeps all of her previous purchases, and then with her current Apple ID, then it becomes a family, and then we can benefit from having the same purchases.
I think so. I am positive that's the way that it works. My setup is slightly different because I've always had a US Apple ID since I started using the iPhone 10 years ago. Sylvia and her sister, they didn't. So they needed to move between Apple IDs. But I do think that if you're based in the same region and you don't need to do anything weird like I do, just UK to UK, you can totally invite an existing Apple ID, and that Apple ID keeps their previous purchases. Yeah. You should look it up just to be sure. I don't want to be responsible.
I think I might do it, because there's just more and more benefits to doing this, right? Like Apple Arcade being one of them.
Yes,
she was talking about signing up, but there's no need. If I'm already paying, she doesn't need to pay for it as well. People in the chat are saying, Pastor Boy in the chat saying, we can just add. I could just add her Apple ID to this family.
And even the invitation process, you can do it in 3 ways, I believe. You can invite over email, you can invite over iMessage, or you can even invite them in person. The new member gets to type in their Apple ID email and password on your phone when you do it, if they don't have a device to do it right now. So it's very nicely done. It was a bit bumpy at the beginning, but now it's gotten much better. Try always like don't do anything weird like our friend John Voorhees did, for example, last year.
Creating a fake child.
He created a fake child for family sharing, and that child cannot be removed until they turn 18. So it's going to have a fake user in his family sharing for 18 years now.
That story never gets old.
It's so John. It's so perfect. But yeah, family sharing. I just wanted to say that I appreciate the way that it works. Could be better, but it's already a pretty sweet deal, actually. The only downside, maybe, you cannot share app subscriptions. So third-party subscriptions for apps like Ulysses or Bear, those I believe they cannot be shared.
Right, but we can both just have our own, right?
Yes, of course.
Right, because it's like, we don't share them right now, but we don't share anything. So yeah, I think I might do it. I think I might do it. I'm gonna. Well, I'll ask if she would want that, and then we'll see.
Sure,
if that's something that we'll do. All right, let's take a break. We still got a little bit of follow up though. Today's episode is brought to you by ExpressVPN, a reliable way to ensure that your network data is kept secure without slowing your internet speed. If you ever use Wi-Fi at a hotel, shopping mall, doctor's office, no matter where, you're sending your data over an open network that doesn't have encryption. And look, this can make it easy for a hacker to bypass Wi-Fi security and steal your information by exploiting flaws such as crack, which is key reinstallation attack. Crack makes it sound so much more scary, which I guess is the point, because key reinstallation attack doesn't sound scary, but it is scary. It means people can get your stuff. You don't want that. The best way to ensure your data is encrypted and can't be read by hackers is to use ExpressVPN. It's super easy. You just download the app on your computer or smartphone and then just continue to browse as you normally would. You just click one button in the app to secure all of your network data. ExpressVPN is the fastest and most reliable VPN around. They are recommended as the #1 VPN provider by TechRadar and CNET. That they take privacy and security to the next level. They even invented a technology called Trusted Server to ensure that VPN servers run from RAM, so no data logs are written to a server's hard drive even by accident. I think that is very clever and makes a ton of sense. I really like that feature. I use ExpressVPN whenever I travel. It just gives me the peace of mind, and as I said before, without making my internet run super slow, which is exactly what I want. If you want the best in online security and privacy protection, head on over to expressvpn.com/connected for extra 3 months free of a 1-year package. Protect your internet today with a VPN that I trust to keep my data safe. Go to expressvpn.com/connected to get started. Our thanks to ExpressVPN for their support of this show and all of Relay FM. I saw today FCC approval has been granted to the Mac Pro.
Okay.
Great news, right?
Sure. Yeah.
I especially wanted to bring that up when it was just me and you, because I just thought it would be funny.
I'm all for the government approving new professional Macintoshes.
It's like your two favorite things: governments and professional Macintoshes.
The hammer of the state and the power of the Macintosh. That's what we're known for on this program.
The hammer of the state and the power of the Macintosh. The two tenets of Connected.
Absolutely, it is. It fills me with such a pure joy and delight knowing that the U.S. government has officially approved the Macintosh Pro, that you honestly have no idea.
The Macintosh Professional.
The Macintosh Professional is my most anticipated computer.
Product release of the year.
Of the day.
Today, just today. Today's most anticipated computer. Do you think it's weird that we don't know when these are shipping?
Yes. It's not surprising. I believe it basically happened the same with the
iMac
original
Pro?
trash can.
Oh, the iMac Pro as well.
And the iMac Pro as well. I don't know why Apple likes to do this, honestly. Like, what's so difficult about a date? You can still do the embargoes. You can still do the behind-the-scenes, press tours and briefings. You can still do all of that. Just give people a date. Like, even a window. Like, it comes out in December. And everybody starts saving their money.
We have until the 22nd of December.
Sure.
Because that's when fall ends.
Can't you really be a little more precise?
That's a long time. That's still a long time to wait on this product.
Yeah.
But there you go. Fall. Or the autumn.
The autumn, it's a very good word.
Hmm.
It's approved. There's a whole industry of, this is totally a tangent, but there's a whole industry of folks who know how to operate these websites, like the FCC and the US government patent office website. Like, they know how to find stuff there. I have no idea how to do it. Like, I wonder if they have a shortcut or some app that looks into the FCC database. Like, how do they do it? Or like when you see those reports of like 2 new MacBook models have been spotted in the Eurasia database. Like, how do you even do it? Like,
Yeah,
do you have
is true.
employees working there and feeding you info? Like, how does it happen? There's a whole
There's
industry.
also this like whole weird thing about like the iPhones don't do this. There's like there's like a secret approval process for some products, because I remember I believe if my memory serves, Apple and other companies really kind of petitioned the FCC for this when new smartphones started becoming a thing. So the FCC didn't ruin a product introduction, because FCC approval documents include diagrams of the product, right? So you like this FCC for the Mac Pro, right? It has to be done before they can release it. Now, they can't do that for the iPhone, right? You can't do the FCC approval in public before it's announced, because then everyone will see it. So the FCC approval is like sealed, I think it's called. Like, and so it's like you never see it, right? Like, they don't release the documentation. So obviously Apple hasn't bothered to do that because we all know about the Mac Pro. But it is just kind of this funny thing of like all of this stuff being public. Like, what is this Eurasia database? Why can't they do it? Like, it's very peculiar.
Yeah. I don't know. Sometimes maybe there's a word for this.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think about like how many professions exist in the world.
Mm.
Like if you look at any object around you and you realize, there's somebody is an expert.
Yep.
About this, and there's people that work with them on this, and there's other people that also work with them, and like it's mind-boggling when you think about how many jobs and different professions exist and how many people are experts in different fields. Like, and in this case, FCC and government, like there's somebody out there who's an expert in government approval of electronic devices from Apple. Like, that's very specific. And yet we all take it for granted and we talk about it as if it's just something that happens. But no, just there's people behind it. And I find that oddly fascinating. So that's what I think about in my day.
I don't know why you think about it, but when you explain it like that, I agree with you.
Okay, good.
Does Google Docs include multi-window support?
Yes, but only on the Mac Pro.
Ah, okay. That's good to know.
No.
The Macintosh Professional.
No. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's still not there. I'm sorry.
iOS 13.2, watchOS 6.1, they're both out. You can share audio. Have you done this yet? I haven't done it yet, but I know you can do it.
A few weeks ago, I tested it and it worked. I haven't done it since because Sylvia doesn't want to listen to my music.
There is very few times that I can see myself doing this, but in the times that I would want to do it, it will be very useful.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like watching a movie on a plane or something, with my wife would be really useful to be able to do this. There have been multiple times where I've been like, I wish I had a headphone splitter, but I don't have those things anymore. That I don't just always have them lying around, especially when I'm using wireless headphones. But I think this is a feature that I will get some use out of, and when I do remember to use it, I'll be very happy. What else of interest to you is in 13.2?
Well, Deep Fusion is out and available.
I was talking about this on Upgrade of Jason. I'm a little bit frustrated about Deep Fusion, Federico.
Are you?
Yeah. Because
why?
I have no idea if it works or not, and or what it's doing for me.
Yeah, that's the point. They don't want you to think about it.
So I kind of wish that they'd never told me about it.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, especially for people like us that we like to know how things work.
Because they positioned it in the same way they positioned portrait mode.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing. It we're going to tell you about a camera thing. We're going to show you how amazing it is. Matt Panzarino is going to write a big article about it. But the difference is, like, I have no control and I have no idea when it's in effect. So it's something I've noticed about the camera. I have one little complaint about the camera. Sometimes photos look very dark. Like there is like a sharpness that they have to them. I don't know whether this is some kind of deep fusion-y thing, or it's a night mode thing, or just a low light thing in general. But I've noticed that some photos I take, they seem to have this like the sharpness or the clarity has been pumped up quite a bit. But I'm struggling to put my finger on it. It's like the lighting is a little weird somehow. But anyway, deep fusion, I don't really. It's kind of basically the where I am with deep fusion now is I'm going to choose to forget about it.
Yeah, you should. It's we're not supposed to think about it. I wonder if maybe there should be some way to communicate this. Even just for those who really want to go look for it, have some metadata in the photo that you can inspect if you really want to double check and confirm.
So I've been thinking about this as well, right? This was never supposed to be a thing. They just didn't have this ready in time.
Yeah. Wasn't supposed to be like an update.
It was never supposed to be like, we have this thing called Deep Fusion. This was just supposed to be in
part of the camera,
iOS 13 as part of the camera, and then they were going to say, we're now doing this thing in some lighting conditions. Like, it was just going to be part of the camera presentation where they spoke about how the camera works. Like, I feel like there was never supposed to be this period of time where Deep Fusion didn't exist. I feel like that was never the intention, purely because there is like no setting for it. It doesn't exist in iOS. It's not written down anywhere. You can't find it, right? Like, I feel like it was supposed to be in 13 as a feature. It took a little too long and they bumped it, spoke about it as this big thing that was coming out, but it wasn't in the same way that they did portrait mode. Like, really, this is just like an update to the camera. It's not a new shooting mode, and I think that really it was supposed to be the default shooting mode, because it just muddies things quite a lot. It makes things difficult, right? Like when it comes to like camera reviews of the phone against like other smartphones and stuff, Apple would have obviously much preferred it to have all of its ducks in a row beforehand. I expected it was supposed to be part of just the release, and it just didn't make it.
Yeah, I agree. They don't want you to think about it as a feature, but we received it as such.
Yeah.
With an update.
Yeah.
So, you can now change, if you have an iPhone or 11 or an iPhone 11 Pro, you can now change settings for video resolution and frame rates inside the camera app. So it's not the best UI. You basically need to tap on labels that do not look like tappable buttons. But if you do, you can toggle between formats and frame rates. So you don't need to open settings to do it anymore. You can do it within the camera app from the viewfinder. Some changes to shortcuts. On iPhone and iPad, there's two new actions. One is set noise control. This works with AirPods Pro, and I believe the new Beats Solo Pro as well. It's new in 13.2, and it's an action that lets you choose whether you want to use the active noise cancellation or transparency mode, or just turn it off. And you can now do it with the shortcut, which is convenient because it means you can create widgets for it, you can create custom menus for it, or you can even somebody sent this to me on Twitter, which is a great idea. You can set up an automation so that if you have 13.2 and watchOS 6.1, every time you start a workout, you can toggle transparency mode on. So that, like, if you're going for a walk or a run outside, you can still make sure that you hear traffic around you or people around you.
That's
and
clever.
so that's very clever, because shortcuts can now detect if you're starting a specific type of workout,
So that's
or
part
even
of the
any
automation
workout.
triggers, right?
It's part of the automation triggers now, and it works if you have watchOS 6.1, and you can combine that with the new noise control action for AirPods. There's also a new handoff playback action that lets you hand off audio playing from your iPhone or iPad to a HomePod or to an AirPlay 2 speaker, I believe, and to an Apple TV. Of course, I wrote about it, but of course, the HomePod software update had to be pulled because it was breaking people's HomePods.
And I also think the multi-user thing is horrifically buggy.
Yeah, it was broken. But there's a new action. You can hand off playback, and if you were one of the few people who managed to install 13.2 on your HomePod, you can try it out. I made a couple of shortcuts that you can download on Mac Stories if you want to have a custom menu for audio handoff.
How does that work?
Okay, so that's a good question. I believe it works in two different ways. So if you're trying to hand off audio for Apple Music and Apple Podcasts, my understanding is that they get special treatment. That's already happening right now in a different feature. So what happens with this action is it transfers the audio session entirely from your iPhone or iPad to the HomePod. If you try with third-party apps or other apps, they just initiate
AirPlay.
An AirPlay streaming session from your source device to the speaker. So you're going to see like iPhone, right pointing arrow, HomePod in Control Center, when you're streaming from your phone to a speaker. Apple Music and Podcasts, they get special treatment, just like they already were getting special treatment before in how you can start like a completely separate session on a HomePod or, without touching the audio that's playing on your phone. So that's how it works. But it's nice because you have choice. You can do the special transfer for music and podcasts, or you can just transfer, hand off any audio from any app. I tried with AirPlay 1 and AirPlay 2, and it always works. It's very nice.
Do you know how the proximity one is working?
I know that it's working for me. It's very nice. I don't know how it's working.
Because it feels like NFC, like it's the same kind of action.
You don't need to tap. You can wave your phone slightly like on top of the HomePod. I don't know what kind of sensor it's using though, honestly.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like, how does it know? I don't know how it knows. I'm very confused about it.
Me too. And speaking of proximity, Mike, do we know if Apple ever shipped I know that they shipped it, but have they ever fixed the position-aware AirDrop thing?
I don't know how it's supposed to work.
Me neither. I just keep spinning my phone.
Like, if I have the two phones and I move one to the other, it vibrates, right? To, like, indicate to me. But, like, nothing transfers. I still have to press a button. Like, I don't understand what's happening with that AirDrop thing.
Yeah. Sometimes I see a message that says, raise your phone. Like, what does it even mean?
I think you're not supposed to, like, hold the phone horizontally.
Yeah, but when I'm pointing to the other phone, nothing happens.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I don't understand it. It feels like a feature that they didn't show off for a reason. It's because it doesn't work. They just haven't bothered to make it work.
Maybe it's Apple's secret plan to let you exercise your arms.
It's just
spinning
deep
around.
AirDrop fusion.
Yes. Other fixes and improvements in 13.2. There's now a listening history section in Apple Music, in the Music app. When you open the Up Next queue, if you swipe up, you can see your listening history. So any track that you listened to before. It's very nice. So you have a record. You have a history of the music you listen to. I'm very happy to report, Michael, that the ability to drag app icons out of Spotlight is back in iPadOS.
Okay. Was it ever gone? Because I've been doing it the whole time.
I believe it was broken for a lot of people.
I think one of the things that you had to do was like press the home button on a keyboard and it would work for me. Right, so I think that might have been the reason that I was getting it to work.
I was pressing the ESC key on my Logitech keyboard.
There you go.
But now you don't need to press the key anymore. Now it's the way that it used to be in iOS 12.
I've given up that Apple will fix the dragging an icon from the home screen. They clearly have no intention of fixing that. They broke that, and now they're not going to fix it. Right? That you could, because you used to be able to like tap and hold on an icon and drag it, then tap another one. It would open that app, and you could drop the second app onto a split view. all it does is creates a stack to put in a folder, which doesn't make any sense. And
now there's gonna be people, please don't tell Myke that you can still sort of do it.
No, you can't. I don't care what anyone says, you can't do it.
You can still sort of do it.
No,
so
I'm
gonna save you. I'm gonna save you the actually on Twitter. You can do it if you pick up the icon, then enter the multitasking app switcher.
No, that's baloney. But look, if the apps start moving around as if they're being physically moved, it's broken. Right? Because that didn't used to happen before.
I'm just giving you a
potential I know you're trying to help me, but I refuse the help.
But I get your yes, I get your point. Yes.
If you have a contextual icon that says like a contextual menu that says rearrange icons, you do not need to have all of the icons immediately rearranging all the time, right? Like, why can I rearrange icons in 2 different ways but can't drag an app from the home screen into multitasking?
That's a good point.
Like, it's bananas. It's absolutely bananas.
I need to ask you this, Myke. I don't know if this is exactly new in 13.2. I'm pretty sure it's new in 13 this year. On iPadOS, the command tab switcher, right?
Yeah.
I've recently discovered that if you hit Command Q while an app is selected in the command tab switcher, it'll remove the app from the switcher, but it'll not actually force quit the app.
What is the point of that?
What's the point of this? You need to tell me why. What's the point?
I don't understand that.
My only possible explanation is that if you feel subconscious about the icons that you have in the command tab switcher, like if you're in front of people, you want to quickly hide an icon for some reason.
They're still in multitasking.
But they're still in the switcher though. It doesn't quit the app. So you can just clean up your switch. I don't know. But there you have it.
That's a remnant of something else, right? Like when I see stuff like that, and it's like, that's not a feature. That's in there. It's a non-bug that has been created, right? Like it's just like this esoteric thing that's been created because of something else. Why would that be a feature? Like if you hit Command Q, it only removes it from the tab switcher.
That's not a feature. It's a byproduct of something.
That byproduct is the perfect phrase for that. It's a byproduct of something else that nobody ever intended that.
Yeah,
super weird. All right, there's more for 13.2 and 6.1 and all that nonsense. But let me take our second break before we get to that and thank Pingdom for their support of this show. Pingdom are amazing because they help keep your sites and the sites that you love online. Pingdom monitor your website so you don't have to, giving you real-time feedback so you know exactly what's going on at all times. You want something to tell you that everything is running smoothly on your website, and more importantly, when it isn't, and that's why you need Pingdom. They will let you know the moment that your site goes down in whatever way is best for you. And it's super smart too. Pingdom will get the information that you need to solve an issue sent to whoever can solve it, whether that's one person, 2 people, or an entire team. Pingdom are dedicated to making the web faster and more reliable. They use more than 70 global test servers to emulate visits to your site, checking its availability as often as every minute. All Pingdom needs is the URL that you want to monitor, and they'll take care of the rest. Don't risk being the last to know about something on your website breaking. Start monitoring today at pingdom.com/relayfm. You get a 14-day free trial and no credit card required. And then when you sign up for a plan, use the code CONNECTED and you will get 30% off your first invoice. That's pingdom.com/relayfm and the code CONNECTED for 30% off your first invoice. Our thanks to Pingdom for their support of this show and Relay FM. So, I am aware... Oh, actually, you know what? I've got an article open here from the wonderful Mac Stories.
Oh, God.
And it's about the HomePod and basically what you were talking about. And there is something called Loud Siren in here, which everybody who listens to the show now knows that you have now turned your entire HomePod setup into a horrific siren. I want to talk to you about that. But before we do, I want to ask you something that I know you don't want to answer. Your home screen in these screenshots here. There's a lot going on these home screens that I'm very intrigued about. And I'm sure you're not going to want to talk about it right now. but there's a lot of very interesting looking icons that I don't understand.
Can I give you my answer?
Yes.
Here's my answer.
Is that what the siren sounds like?
Yes.
Is there anyone in your house right now?
Just the dogs. Just me.
Poor dogs.
Yeah, they're in the other room. This is the HomePod in my room.
Oh my god. Oh, that is a horrific noise.
And
we're going to get to that.
40%. So my home screen. Yeah. There's a lot going on. I should write about it. Basically, the reason why I wanted Silvia to make the Mac Stories shortcuts icons,
which, by the way, has been recently updated with 50 new glyphs, which you can get at macstories.net.
Yes, there's a free update, and the glyphs also have HomePods in them because I knew this update was coming out. I convinced her to make these icons because I wanted the icons myself.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that running shortcuts on the home screen is much, much better in 13 convinced me to try this hybrid approach of like not an entirely shortcuts only home screen, but both apps and shortcuts. I have more apps on my phone than I do on my iPad. On my iPad, I do have more shortcuts on the home screen, but that's because I have the dock on the iPad. But yeah, I should explain. And
I want to know what they all are. There's like releases, recent, my tasks. There's Task Plus, Music Bot.
Oh, the Music Bot.
Ideas. What are these things?
Some of these are big projects that I've been working on for the past 5 months, especially releases and music and my tasks. Those are like actual web apps. They're powered by shortcuts. It's ridiculous. I promise I will share them eventually. They were created with the purpose of sharing them with people. Honestly, in the short term, like before the end of the year, I want to write about the home screen, my home screen, like all the apps and shortcuts that I have. And I plan on sharing MusicBot, which is the thing that I've been working on for the past 2 months. I've been talking about it on App Stories a bit. It's this sort of comprehensive Apple Music assistant that I've been working on. It's like, so far it's about 500 actions, and like it requires no setup. It's entirely like all the complexity removed to do a bunch of things for you for Apple Music. But yeah, I realized there's a lot of things.
Okay.
So Ideas is an easy one. Ideas, it just launches an Apple Note for my shortcuts ideas. It's a simple one action shortcut.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a bunch of things to explain. Like, have you seen Reader in there?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've stopped. I'm almost convinced that I'm gonna stop using Safari reading list. Oh man, it's there's another 3 episodes of this stuff, but we don't have the time today. But yes,
I'm not surprised you've stopped using Safari Reading List.
Look, I give it a honest shot for like 3 years.
That reader icon, that's a beta icon or something?
It's it's the beta. It's supposedly coming out very, very soon.
I use Reader every day.
I've gotten back in touch with Silvio, the developer. We lost touch over the years when he was busy working on Reader 4. And I've been sending him my feedback for the shortcuts that he's working on. It's really good stuff. Yeah.
Shortcuts.
Yes.
Huh,
yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll come back to all of that. Let's talk about your HomePod siren, shall we?
You want to hear the siren again?
No, I don't want to hear the siren again. That's the one thing I don't want. What I want to know is, did you get it all working? Do you have your home alarm system set up the way that you want now?
I do, and that's because you can now let HomePods participate. Well, if you have the software update, of course, you can now let HomePods participate in home automations and scenes. So this means that you can play. You have 4 actions. If you assign a HomePod, or I believe any AirPlay 2 speaker, to a scene or automation in the Home app on your iPhone or iPad, you can choose between 4 actions. They are play audio, resume audio, pause audio, and adjust volume. And you can choose. There's a bunch of options that you can choose. Repeat, shuffle, use the current volume, or set a custom volume. And when you play audio, so this is the thing that I was looking forward to, because I wanted to turn my 3 HomePods into a siren, into a super loud siren. I do have a siren, like a physical siren that I bought on Amazon and that I wired myself.
But a multi-room HomePod setup will be much louder.
Imagine a multi-room HomePod setup at 100% volume, blasting a loud siren like the one you just heard.
Part of the thing about that is, like, if that happens to you, you know that's coming from multiple places. That is like an audio assault to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I was able to. So I'm gonna I'm gonna mention this in a few minutes. For now, what I've done is I downloaded a loud siren track from YouTube. I used YouTube DL to download it on my Mac. I used Fission by Rogue Amoeba, excellent app. Wonderful app to convert it to an MP3 file and give it custom metadata. So I give it a HomeKit, a home icon artwork. Mm-hmm. And I believe the genre, following the excellent tip by John Voorhees, is loud. And I think the artist and the album is... No, the artist is HomeKit, I think, and the album is HomeKit Security.
It's the hottest beats.
You know, it's the loudest beats. I uploaded this track to my iCloud Music library, and then I selected it in the Home app so that whenever my home security system is triggered, the HomePods will start playing this track, Loud Siren, full volume in all 3 rooms. It's loud, man. It's very loud, and it's you can barely survive if you hear that. I haven't tried at 100%. 50%. It was enough for a few seconds.
Are you happy with the way that you have this set up right now? That you are willing to trust the security of your home to this system?
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been trusting the security of my home to this system without the HomePod sirens for the past few months. Actually, it works really well. I must say, like, the door and window sensors are working great. What I want to do is modify the loud siren track so that it contains a vocal message that, like, fakes a phone call to the police as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that idea.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put together, like, I'm gonna record myself.
But is it the policier or the carabinieri? Which one are you?
I think I'm gonna, like, with the carabinieri, because they're, I see them as tougher.
Yeah, scarier. Just the word. Scarier.
Yeah. That's because in many years ago they used to have a carabina, which is the gun. That's hence the carabinieri.
Because it sounds to me like a secret police. I don't know why.
They're not a secret.
I know they're everywhere. You see them, but, like, it sounds like the secret police, right? Like, that's kind of how I hear it. But.
Yeah, but I'm pretty happy so far. Like, we've added, like, what's it called? Like a UPS module, like the thing for backup power.
The uninterruptible power supply thing.
Yeah. Because, of course, if anybody's trying to break in, maybe they could try cutting the power from outside.
How will you deal with the explosives expert, Federico?
Well, that I haven't accounted for, but at least my internet connection is gonna stay up. My Apple TV is gonna stay up.
What if they cut a hole in the ceiling and come down that way?
At that point, I'm screwed.
Yeah, I guess so, right?
But at least if they try the traditional way, the internet is gonna stay up, so I'm gonna get notifications, and the Apple TV is gonna stay up, so the HomeKit hub works, and the at least one HomePod and the Amazon siren, the physical siren, will continue working. The other 2 HomePods, if they cut the power, will not work. But honestly, I really hope that they don't. Like, I don't want anybody to try this. I just know that it's working, and that's enough for me. You cannot live being obsessed with, are they gonna break in today? Is the system gonna work? No, I just set it up for my safety, for my peace of mind. And the fact that it's entirely powered by HomeKit makes me happy. because I don't need to trust anybody else's servers anymore, or pay for other subscriptions and services and that kind of stuff. And I cannot wait for HomeKit Secure Video to become available for my Logi Circle 2 cameras.
Are they putting that on there?
Yes, the Circle 2 will get it.
Okay, that might be what I move to, because I want to have access to HomeKit Secure Video.
Mm-hmm.
I just want that feature, and I'm not convinced that Canary's going to get it. But I only want to move when I can recreate what I have, which is also having like a siren and the ability to talk through into the home. Like I want to be able to have these features, and I don't mind if I have to have a couple of different products to make that work, as long as it all works with HomeKit. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Have you tried the HomePod ambient sounds?
No, because I didn't know how to activate them.
Neither did I. I found a great article on 9to5Mac, which actually tells you how to do it. Okay. So you just say, like, ahoy telephone, play stream sounds or ocean noises, or you say white noise, that kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And then it will do it. And they sound pretty good. It's a little aggressive for me, I think, like the sounds. Because they sound pretty loopy, right? Like they're on a loop, like in a pretty short loop, and that kind of, I don't really like that so much. But you can do white noise and stuff, which I know is useful for some people because it's kind of cool. It's built into the HomePod now.
Yeah, people buy like white noise machines.
Yeah,
dedicated for this, and now it's part of the HomePod, which is pretty cool.
13.2 and 10.15.1 and all that stuff, even the HomePod, it gave you the option to do the Siri privacy thing, right? Where you can send the audio clips. What did you choose?
Oh, I'm sharing everything, man.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm not.
Whatever. Really? Oh, okay.
I'm doing it out of anger because I was just really annoyed at the way Apple dealt with that whole thing. So I'm kind of doing it out of spite. And part of my spite comes from the fact that they're getting the text transcripts anyway, which I find really annoying. That I can't opt out of that. Like they've made this big thing about an apology, but they still won't let me opt out of text transcripts. So I said no, because it's like I feel like I just don't need my audio sent for somebody to listen to. I just feel like if I get the choice, I'm going to say no to that. Like we're good.
Well, I've been getting so many accidental Siri activations.
Right, and that's part of the reason I don't want it sent, because it's happening all the time.
Yeah, but I've been getting so many of them before 13.2 on my HomePod. So I don't know if the situation is getting better. It's too soon to tell. But again, it's so many that I realized, how many people like me are out there in this situation of having 3 HomePods that have been imported from the US and that are now being used in Italy, in an environment where, honestly, like most of the time, you can hear me talking in a weird mix of English and Italian, which, by the way, is getting super, super bad and funny at the same time. Like I cannot speak an Italian, like fluent Italian anymore, basically. So what are the chances that many other people like me are out there with the same setup? So I figured, anything that I can do to sort of improve this for myself, I'm going to share the data with Apple so they can listen and understand whatever is going on. Because honestly, like the TV is triggering Siri all the time now, even though like
I get obviously, it all the time.
Like even for like words that are not remotely similar with that name.
Yep.
Something else that has been going on here. watchOS 6.1 is out. Came out yesterday. It's got a bunch of improvements. Battery life should be better for people. I've seen folks who have a Series 5 watch saying that 6.1 improved their situation, so that's nice. Workout triggers, we mentioned them before, should now be working correctly between the iPhone and the iPad.
All right.
I say should because they don't for me.
Okay.
Also, what doesn't work for me is you can now run shortcuts on the Apple Watch thanks to 13.2 and 6.1. And it's supposedly, it's the full-on shortcut support. Like, you can see even menus and lists on the watch, and you can choose parameters and stuff like that. Even though there's no shortcuts app on the watch, you can now run shortcuts on the watch via Siri. And you can, interactivity, conversational mode, all of that stuff is supported. It's not working for me at all. When I try to run a shortcut, it says, I do not recognize that command. And I, of course, opened up a feedback report with Apple last week. They followed up with me today asking for an additional sysdiagnose on the watch, which, by the way, if you don't know, you can capture a sysdiagnose on the Apple Watch by pressing the side button and the digital crown at the same time for 2 seconds. And then you gotta wait 15 minutes for the sysdiagnose to be collected and saved on your iPhone in the Watch app. Anyway, I needed to install an additional Siri login profile on my iPhone to gather additional data for my shortcuts usage. My understanding is that something horrible happened to my shortcuts library so that it's not syncing to the watch correctly. And I'm not getting the workout triggers to work, and I'm not getting the shortcuts on the watch to work.
It's probably base 64.
I knew that I was gonna make you were gonna make that joke, and I accepted. I brought it on myself. But yeah, hopefully Apple can look into the data that I sent, the additional data that I sent, and they can figure out whatever is going on.
So the shortcuts can only be run by Siri, right?
Yes, of course. There's no or in theory, with the Siri watch face. In theory, I haven't tested it because it doesn't work. But yeah, I saw somebody on Twitter today. I'm gonna try and find the tweet if I can, with a video of how shortcuts on the watch work. It's pretty impressive. You do get the full interaction. You can choose from lists. You can dictate text. You can do anything. So I really hope that Apple can figure out what's going on for me, because I would love to use this.
Do we have anything else on software updates?
I mean, Carolina had an update with a new emoji.
Great.
I don't know. The Apple TV was updated too. That's about it, I think.
Yeah, I think we should stop messing around and start talking about what people actually care about today, which is AirPods Pro.
Oh, yeah.
Because we both have them. We haven't had them for long, but we both have them. Let me thank our final sponsor, and we can dig into that. It's FreshBooks, good friends over at FreshBooks. They have the most amazing, the most simple cloud accounting software available that can help you save time. If you ever send invoices, you ever track expenses, you can save so much time, hours and hours and hours and hours, because FreshBooks simplify all of these tasks. They help you with getting paid online, they help you with tracking your expenses, they help you with sending invoices, and they help you with keeping track of it all. FreshBooks drastically reduces the time it takes for their customers to do their paperwork. I am one of those customers and can attest to that. FreshBooks makes it so easy for me to create and send an invoice, and then also to track that invoice once it's sent, so I'm not spending time chasing up with the clients that I work with, because they make sure that when I've sent out an invoice, I can see whether it's been seen, I can see whether it's been printed by the person that I've sent it to. I don't have to guess as to whether it's been received, and I also will know if somebody's ghosted me or not. FreshBooks helps out with all that sort of stuff, and they can also automate late payment email reminders as well, so I don't have to actually send those out myself. The system can just do it all for me, and I can get back to doing whatever it is that I want to be doing that isn't sending invoices, which, as nice as FreshBooks is, I don't want to be spending a ton of time sending invoices. That is one of the reasons that I choose FreshBooks, because they make sure that I don't have to. If you're listening to this show and you've yet to try out FreshBooks and you ever send invoices, now is the time to try it. They're offering a 30-day free trial for listeners of this show. No credit card required, no restrictions. All you have to do is go to freshbooks.com/connected, and if they ask, hey, how did you hear about FreshBooks? Say, on the Connected podcast. That's freshbooks.com/connected for a 30-day free trial. Our thanks to FreshBooks for their support of this show and Relay FM. AirPods Pro. We both got them today. I had them for a couple of hours. I've spent a little bit of time playing around with them. They were announced on Monday. We were both able to order them, and they've arrived. In case you have missed it, effectively the big things here are active noise cancellation. So there is noise cancellation. They are water resistant. They are splash proof is probably a better thing to say. What else do we have? And then they're smaller. They have a different case. Really, the noise cancellation is what warrants this product existing, because there's a few different things going on. There's a couple of modes, right? You have regular mode, which is just nothing's happening, and the AirPods are going in your ears now because they're those little silicone tips. So that provides some level of isolation, right? Because you've got a fit, and it's you've got something stuck in your ear, so that isolates some noise. Then you have the noise cancellation mode, where it's using the microphones on the outside, and and also the microphones on the inside to see like how much noise is outside, how much noise is getting in, and then it's trying to like map the music to, and like it's really weird stuff. Like I don't understand completely how this stuff works, but it's using all of that sound to adapt the noise that you're hearing, and then to make sure it's basically trying to level that out, right? Or you've got transparency mode, where it's actively using those microphones to bring in some outside noise to you, more than you would be getting from not having it on, even if you were playing no music, right? Like, so the idea would be if you were on a bike, right, and you're riding on a bike, you still want to be able to hear street noise. Maybe if you're on a plane, you want to be able to hear something if there's announcements. The way that Apple set it up is you can basically choose any three of those modes. So nothing, transparency mode, or noise cancellation. And you can do that on the iPhone. You can change that. You can like long press on the volume slider. And you can also set it up that there's the new force sensor, which we'll talk about in a little bit more detail in a minute. You can have it so you can long press to toggle between the two modes of either active noise cancellation or transparency mode. Whatever one you're using, a couple of second squeeze on the stem of the AirPod will change between one or the other. So that's kind of like the rundown of like that feature, right? I think I've pretty much covered that, I think, right? Yep. But we've both had them. I think we have both had issues with these types of earphones in the past. So earphones that go in the ear. I have also previously not been a big fan of noise cancellation. So in theory, this product shouldn't be that great for me. But I really like it. Like, I'm very happy with it so far. I find the fit of the silicones, I go down to the small ones. The medium wouldn't fit in my ears. Taking those off, by the way, is an experience. The little, like the silicone, like
oh my god, yes,
tip things. You have to really pull it, and it feels like you're gonna break it.
Yeah, it's because they, unlike other earbuds with tips, silicone tips that I tried before, you don't just like insert the tip in the speaker, like what's it called, like the earbud itself. There's like a little plastic base that like at the bottom of the silicone tip that needs to attach to the AirPod. It's not magnetic, but it feels like it. Like I'm gonna pull mine off now so people can hear what it sounds like, right? Like this is the sound it makes when you try and remove the tip. Like, it is quite scary when you're trying to take them off for the first time. It's not just like shoving the silicone tip into the earbud. You need to physically detach and reattach this little component to the AirPod. Which, like now that I know, like what's the correct amount of pressure, strength to apply and pressure to apply, like I totally get it. Like it's super easy. But the first time I was like, oh man, I'm like, I swear, like the first time that I pulled it off, I thought I broke it.
I
like,
figured I was going to rip the silicone.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
but,
it works.
But what I noticed is that, so historically, you know me, I have a side hobby of trying lots of different headphones and earbuds, and it's just something that I like to do, and then eventually I resell them to my friends and other people. So I keep the hobby going like that. And historically, in-ear earbuds have always been problematic for me in that after 15-20 minutes, start getting a very light headache. It gets much, much worse within the hour. And I feel like pressure in my ears, and it moves to my forehead. I really cannot do it. And if that doesn't happen, it's because I cannot find a good size of silicone tips that fit my ears. So either I don't find silicone tips that work for me, or if I do, I get a headache. I haven't had any problems with noise cancellation before myself, but I know what you mean. That it can make you feel a little strange, like sort of like confused or like a headache. It can be tricky for a lot of people. I totally understand what you mean. These AirPods Pro, I believe that what Apple is saying about the new design with the vents that relieve pressure in the inner ear, I think it's working, because I've been listening with these AirPods for over 2 hours today. Didn't get a headache.
Yep.
Didn't get any, sort of weird sensation or weird feeling in my ears. Everything's been fine. I can tell that it's a tighter seal compared to traditional AirPods.
If I turn it off, if I turn noise cancellation off, I still can't hear much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also, I think the lightness of the AirPod and not having a cable is something that is helping it stay in my ears.
Yes. But the way that I see it now is like traditional AirPods have a much looser seal. Like I've never lost them. I never accidentally dropped them from my ears. I'm lucky like that the shape of my ear works well with the classic AirPods design. But these ones, they're much tighter because of the silicone tips and the design of the new AirPods. The medium size tip fit right away for me, and the what's it called, ear tip fit test.
Yeah,
that's a mouthful. In settings, that confirmed right away that medium was a good seal for both AirPods, and the result is that noise cancellation works. I mean, it doesn't it's not magic, right? If you have somebody talking in front of you, it's not going to magically block them out, but it makes them way quieter. And of course, background noise, that does a really good job at eliminating. But the result for me, like the sound is what matters. And the sound is much better than normal AirPods. You got more bass in there, it's warmer, it's a richer sound overall. That I really can't believe that Apple was able to pack into these things that are so small. They're so much smaller and shorter than normal AirPods. And they sound, to me, not twice as loud, but twice as richer, which is different. And it's really quite remarkable.
Yeah, I think as well, one of the things that's helping me with the noise cancellation is it's not too strong anyway, right? Yeah. I think because I think most of the problem I've had with noise cancellation is over-the-ear headphones. And it's just doing too much, right? And that's maybe just too aggressive, where this is way less aggressive. And I do think that there is a possibility, I don't know, that maybe these vents are helping out with it. But I even felt like there were times when I was putting them in, when I've been testing them out today, and I wasn't sure if noise cancellation was on or not, which I actually think is a good thing in some instances, because that means it's not making me feel weird, basically. I was just in a quiet room, right? So, there wasn't noise to cancel, but I was putting them in and I wasn't sure. I've noticed that when you take the AirPods out of your ears and put them back in again, they remember your previous setting for whether you had noise cancellation on or off, or you have transparency mode on. So it just remembers that. So it doesn't seem like there's a default way that you set it. So you just have to remember that, right? Because I think that there would be quite a lot of times I would want to be able to choose between all three. There would be times when I would want it off, all off,
Right.
If I'm just commuting or whatever, where I feel like I don't need noise cancellation, but I also don't need to hear everything. There's a happy medium. And I like that there are the three modes, so I can choose. I'm not one of these people. I hear this. I hear people from you, from some friends, from YouTubers, people they put on their headphones and they're like, the mids are really good in this, and the highs are great. And it's I do not know what anybody's talking about.
Okay,
right?
Okay.
But I've tried to have it explained to me. I can't recognize it. I know when something's bassy. I know when something sounds nice and clear.
Yeah.
I know, but my main thing, which is and I had this today when I was using the AirPods, is when I was using them, I was I'm hearing things in this song that I know very well that I typically only hear when I use over-ear headphones.
So you do know what it's like. You're just not sure about the right terminology. But
I don't know what the terms mean.
Yes,
right? But I can hear like certain instruments played like more loudly or like little details in a song that I don't usually hear. Like I can hear differences, but I can't categorize them.
Yeah, and most of them are the mains, as they say. Like the detail in the instrument. Like today, I was listening to the latest album by The Main, which, by the way, excellent album. And with the AirPods Pro, I can pick up details in the background guitars that they just become a little mushy, like a little just background noise with the AirPods. But here you can tell the guitar apart from the background. So yeah, I'm pleased that you mentioned that because it's also something that I noticed today.
What do you think about the case?
All right, so
it's bigger and heavier.
That's no problem for me.
Point one.
Like,
yeah.
Yes, it is, but like whatever. Like it's not like it's suddenly like a brick.
The size difference for me is not an issue. I know some people don't like it. The weight is not an issue either. That is worth noting.
My issue is that at first I was a bit clumsy in trying to understand how to take the AirPods out of the case.
You have to learn again. It's not.
You have to learn again. It's not the same way as with the old AirPods, because if you try to pull them from the silicone tips from the front, like if you try to pull them out from the front, it's not working. You gotta pull them out from the back. It's a different gesture. It's a new gesture, and at first I felt kind of stupid. Like, have I really forgot how to remove AirPods from a case? But no, the different shape and the fact that you have the silicone tips now, the case requires you to adjust your gesture for taking them out. But it's, now it's totally fine. I did it a bunch of times and now I get it. Now I reaching for the back of the AirPod and it comes out right away.
I cannot believe how much smaller they are.
Right? I mean, and that was one of the things that I was also concerned about, like the shorter stem. Is it really going to be comfortable to reach and press because you have less surface area to find as a clickable button? But one, yes, I find it to be relatively easy to do. Like I can reach for my ear and press and it's fine. And I cannot believe how smaller they are. And they're so much smaller, yet they sound better. And they're more
doing
features.
More, and they have the same battery life. How is this possible?
Miniaturization, man.
It's a wild thing.
Yeah.
What do you think of the force sensor? So this is the sensor that now controls play and pause. You basically squeeze it once to play. You can double squeeze it to skip forward, go back. If you ever used the old inline controls on the old wired headphones, it's that basically. But if you press and hold it for a few seconds, or like a second or whatever, it will do the active noise cancellation toggling, or it can activate Siri if you choose for it to do that. That's the only option you have for changing the force sensor. It can either do the noise cancelling changes or it can do Siri. You can't customize it for anything else. What do you think of the sensor?
It seems to be working well so far for me. I get it. I've tested it a few times. I can get used to it. I'm happy that you can customize the gesture and have Siri activate without the voice invocation. My only feedback so far would be I wish the click sound was louder.
Yeah, because it makes a little clicky sound, which is fun that it does it.
It's too quiet, though.
Yeah.
Should be a little louder.
You know what I like, though? When you do the press and hold to change between noise cancellation and transparency, it plays a tone, but the tone is different.
The chime, yeah, it's different. Yeah,
it's different for each one. So, like, you will eventually learn just by the chime where you are. Yes. I think that is very, very good design.
Yeah, these AirPods, they sort of, I think they are the final nail in the coffin of those who hope that Apple would eventually enable slide gestures to control the volume. Because I mean, it was, you could imagine it before with the longer stem, but now, swiping across the AirPod that it's so shorter, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
I'm just really happy that they found a more refined control method, because this is more refined for me than slamming the side of my head with my hand.
Yeah. I mean, we've always had this argument here. Tapping was fine for me. I get what you mean. I
is
do
still
think this is more.
unrefined.
I think
Even
this
if
is
it
more
was
elegant.
fine, this is a more refined
It's
gesture.
it's elegant. It's a
Yes.
little less aggressive. Like I'm not tapping. I'm just clicking.
Yep.
You feel more like a gentleman when you do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I like that a lot. I think it's good. I mean, they have removed the tapping gesture. There's no accelerometer in this, it seems.
They're gone. They're gone. No, I think the accelerometer is in there, but there's no tapping. There's no tapping.
The accelerometer doesn't provide those actions anymore.
No. So, I mean, overall, I'm super happy so far. I still got to test them on a plane, of course.
Can't wait to do that. That's a big test.
I think I'm going to do it. I have Apple Care, so we'll see.
I should mention that. Apple Care. It's probably worth getting for this product. It to replace them costs $178 or $29 of Apple Care, and Apple Care is just $29 for this product.
Yeah. And I also want to mention, slightly related to this, the excellent utility by friend of the show, Guy Rambo, AirBuddy for Mac. I believe has already been updated for the new AirPods Pro. He sent me a build a few hours ago, and AirBuddy is an app that lets you see the same pairing UI that you see on the iPhone or the Apple Watch when you first, when you open the case near a device. You see, the little spinning graphic. AirBuddy lets you see the same thing when you open a case, an AirPods case next to your Mac, and it lets you connect to the AirPods with one click. And I believe a new version of AirBuddy with AirPods Pro support is already out, and it works really well for me. So there's that. I'm happy so far. Like they sound great. Transparency mode and noise control is very welcome. I love the shortcuts integration. I need to test a real sweaty workout with these things. See what it's like. But otherwise, I'm happy. I'm curious to see. Here's my something to check upon in the future. I believe there's gonna be a market for third-party tip replacements, with even more options for sizes or colors, or because they are completely detachable. There's nothing proprietary, it seems. I mean, as long as you copy the design of the plastic attachment, you can do it. So I think we're gonna see third-party replacements for this. You can buy them supposedly for $4 at the Apple Store if you wanna buy more replacement tips from Apple, the original ones.
Which is good that the price is so silly, right? It should be that kind of price, like a really small price. It's like the same as replacing the tip of the Apple Pencil. It's like cheap, very cheap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they should hand them out for free, throwing like confetti when you walk into an Apple Store. They're just throwing AirPods Pro tips at you.
Now, we had some audio predictions that we made for the year, and I wanted to review them today. But now I'm thinking that maybe we should wait until next week and review them with Steven, because we may have some debate, as we always do.
There's gonna be a debate.
All right. So we'll next week we're gonna review those. I think it's all. I think I've worked it out. I've already scored them in our document, but we will all argue over that scoring, I'm sure. So next week we'll do that. But yeah, the AirPods Pro, I'm really happy. I think this is something that all of us will be providing follow up over the next couple of weeks. As we use them in different circumstances and situations, different traveling and moving around and all that kind of stuff. This is a product that will be worth coming back to. But I do want to say, this is a great product. The team that is responsible for making AirPods is one of Apple's best teams.
Yes. This is. I tweeted about this today. The AirPods and the Apple Watch for me are the Apple at its best, really. I know that it's an overused phrase, but when it's true, it is true. This is the best that the company makes, like miniaturization, making something portable and elegant and powerful but intuitive. Like it's the perfect balance. AirPods and Apple Watch, and even more so AirPods in this case, they strike that balance of something so incredibly complex reduced to the essence of its functionality that it really is, when you think about it, like all the different components and the the H1 chip that's inside these things. and the way that it works and what it does, and the fact that it's completely wireless. Like, we take it for granted, but it goes back to what I said a few minutes ago here on the show. Like, imagine how, like, the people that are experts about this stuff, and like, how is this possible that you have these two wireless things that like monitor the sound around you, and they block out the sound by beaming like a noise into you? Like, that's wild. So yeah, this is it's a pretty awesome product, and the people who worked on it should be happy because it's very nice.
All right, that about does it for this week's episode. Thanks to ExpressVPN, Pingdom, and FreshBooks for their support. You can find show notes at relay.fm/connected/267. Go to macstories.net for Federico's work. He is Vitici on Twitter and Instagram. Stephen is at ISMH on Twitter. I don't know what he's on Instagram. It's Stephen M. Hackett, I think. It always changes. I don't know. But Stephen will be back next week. Don't forget to tweet at Stephen your 2 favorite emoji in support of his health.
New emoji.
He's sick today. So new
Not
emoji. Yeah, 2
new emoji.
favorite new emoji from 13.2. I'm sure he'll enjoy seeing those. We'll be back next time. Until then, say goodbye, Federico.
Adios.
Bye.